Welcome, Pierre, to this Talking Photo Book session. You have chosen a beautiful and quite, as I think, enigmatic book by photographer Mabeye Deme. It's a book with photographs from Dakar taken between 2018 and 21 in one street, 242 Rue Mère Yacine, and at one and the same spot, that is in front of a small construction site or building site. You know the photographer. Can you tell us something about the dispositif, about how he did this work?
Yes, thank you very much for the invitation first. And I would like to start with this very first picture of the book, which shows the streetscape that you were mentioning and that goes through the book then, which is this small house with only one story, which is then under renovation, and we follow through the pictures these 4 years of following the renovation site. So here we can already see a little bit the scenery with the construction workers, people on the street, the rubble going on, and we see also in the foreground this transparent piece of fabric through which Mabeye is taking all the pictures. And this element of the dispositif is very important because so throughout the years he was coming regularly to this place, which is in Golfe Sud in the north of the city, along the coast. He was building a little tent, which is this piece of fabric that we see in the foreground. And with the time also, the fabric got damaged, got ripped.
That's what we see here?
Exactly. And so along the process, he was stitching this piece of fabric, repairing it. And so we see also the development of time through this piece of fabric and the development of time through the evolution of the construction site. And so just to understand a little bit better how the dispositif was set up, he built this little tent next to the food stall of Mère Yacine, who is the mother of his assistant, actually, in Golfe Sud. And he was using this transparent piece of fabric that is very common on the streetscape of Dakar, where sellers are just, setting up a little place to sell food, for example.
So he sat day by day in this small tent. For how long? What was the schedule of his photography?
So it was a bit different all the time, but he was coming for a certain period of time every year. And then he notes at the end of the book as well that he was, for example, coming 6 days in a row from, let's say, 9 hours, 12 to 16 in the afternoon. And then he was first, this tent was a place for him to get familiar with the district, also for people to come to him. And so this is also interesting to see how it's both in the streetscape but also a bit out, and this reflects also a little bit about his positionality as a photographer, always in and out, taking pictures from the outside but being part of the urban life, but also personally. So he's a Senegalese person, but he lives in France. So he's also always, coming in Dakar, then leaving. And I think this piece of fabric is also a little bit about this positionality as a photographer.
And as you say, he's a professional photographer, and he refers to a certain type of photography that we all know, that is also linked to what we know later as film, which is chronophotography, which is a sequencing of movement. And I think this is one page where we see this very nicely, where a movement has been sequenced, not scattered, and distributed here on the page. You conducted your PhD research on the building material concrete in Dakar. So what do these pictures evoke for you regarding construction materials and the distribution in the city of these materials? And how does this, for you, relate to inequality in the city?
So I think one very interesting thing about this longue durée work is that we really see the evolution of this house over a long time period. It's very long, 4 years, to renovate such a, I mean, it's a decent house, but it's not so big as well. And here, for example, we really see that concrete is so central to the construction work. We have a very, let's say, small construction site with very simple tools. We have the wooden ladder here, for example. A bit later, we also have other tools. But we also have the pile of rubble here. We see the repair here. Here he is also repairing this crack. Mm-hmm. So in terms of precarity, this is about the means to build, but also this concrete that is cracking, for mm-hmm. example, mm-hmm. and that always needs repair. Mm-hmm. If we go a bit further, here we have this pile of rubble, but the city of Pile also goes to fresh concrete. So here we have a pile of sand, and in the front here we have freshly mixed concrete on the ground directly. We already see some evolution in the construction site here. The little wall has been torn down. If we go further, we see this poulet that I was maybe already mentioning, which is also very symbolic of the construction sites in Dakar. It's a hand lift, weight lift, so it's very heavy on the body, for example. Or if we go further, we also have the horse cart here. That is very important to constructions in Dakar. You have these horse carts going through the city kind of everywhere, and here, for example, is a delivery of a water tank that is so necessary to do the concrete.
And is this kind of construction practice the same all over the city, or is it typical for this area? What is this area? How is that? An expression of an economic system and of difference in the city.
Mm-hmm. So, as I was mentioning at the beginning, this district Golfe Sud is part of the municipality of Guédiawaye in the city north, and this is a very popular district that is also continuously transforming. And this was the construction of this district started in the 60s, if I remember correctly, and this was only such houses, small ground floor houses, and through time families also started to extend the houses. But this is definitely a district that lies at the extension of the city. So if you go more into the city center, for example, you don't have this kind of construction site. You have high rises, you have real estate developers. Here it's very domestic construction.
And though the photographs suggest that construction is somehow slow and contingent to things that fall apart and have to be repaired, the activity somehow also signals aspirations, right? The plans people have and are trying to realize, in the sense here we see the present but also futures. What kinds of relations to the present and the future do you discern with your knowledge about construction and the social fabric in these pictures?
So I think first, construction is always an aspiration. It's always an aspiration to build maybe more, to build better, to better a house. And what I find very interesting over time is that we see also that the construction evolves sometimes very quickly, like at the beginning we just saw, and sometimes very slowly. Here, for a long period of time, the house doesn't have much changes. The only thing that changes here, and we see again the chronophotography on these pages, is this new balustrade. So little by little the house becomes complete.
And it's interesting because it somehow also looks like the fabric of the tissue from the tent, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. But you could see the balustrade.
And to be to at the end become a complete houses. So here we have these complete houses, and I find also this picture very interesting in the sense that we have different details on this facade that suggest also aspiration in a way. We have, for example, these electric meters here. We can discern 3 of them, which also means this house in the end becomes a business in a way. The house is then divided into flats and then rented, and then becomes also a source of income. But the photos also show aspirations, maybe like middle class aspirations.
We have this container, right?
Exactly. So at some point in these years, there is this container that is appearing a bit out of the blue, and out of this container you have this 4x4 coming. So the house is a big social marker. The car is also a huge social marker for sure.
And we have seen here that it's very interesting for the youngsters. What could be in this container, what could have arrived from far away. There's one subject that Mabeye Deme raises himself in the end of the book. He has a small text there. That is the question of reciprocity in a way. And it's difficult, of course, to achieve reciprocity by photography. And in this case, people asked him what he's going to do with the photographs, how much he will earn from selling prints and so on. So what he what he writes in the book is that he will not sell prints of these photographs, but only the book. And that actually the book should have a place in public libraries. And since there are no public libraries in this very neighborhood, that there should be, in the future, when he comes back, a corner in this tent where he is. Where is it? We have been there before. In this very tent, on this very spot, there should be books that people could get. What is your thought about that? What is he addressing with this part of the dispositif somehow?
I think it's also about accessibility to art. So Golf Sud in the north of the city is quite far, for example, from the art galleries in Dakar. So it's also about giving back and sharing these years that he spent together with people from this street, but also giving a sense of accessibility to artworks and to different media that allows people maybe to be confronted to different ideas, to different art in general. And I think there is something else that he actually also really did right after he finished this series of photos, is to display some photographs of this series directly on the street. And so that people from the street could be also able just to have it in the streetscape. And the interesting thing is the pictures were outside, and so were also like this piece of fabric damaged over time, and sometimes a piece of the image would just fall down, or so it was also very much integrated into the district life, I would say.
Thank you, Pierre.
Thank you very much.
To make me know this book on transformation and stability. Would be interesting to find out what will happen to these books in Dakar. Thank you.
Thank you very much.